Welcome to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stands. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
Oh no! We suck again!
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. Unfortunately, the Kings lose tonight, 134-136 to the LA Lakers. It was a nail-biter. It was a high-scoring affair. We see Domantas Sabonis foul out in this game. Malik Monk is not available due to injury. But welcome in, everybody. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button down below. And please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Calvin and I put out fresh Kings content, and we are live after every single Kings game, win or loss. Calvin, welcome in. How are you? Welcome to therapy.
Yes, welcome everybody to therapy. I'm okay. It's a rough one. No sugarcoating it. I think this is going to be one of those episodes where you just get it all off your chest, man. I mean, it was a good game. It was a close game. The Kings have been in a lot of these lately. I feel like a few of these we've seen high-scoring games, but it's been horrible shooting, a lot of free throws. There were a lot of free throws in this game tonight, but, man, were both teams executing offensively. You really couldn't miss if you were either team for a good portion of this game, both from three and from inside.
We suck again.
And, we suck again.
Sorry about that, Calvin. No audio, huh? Interesting. Looks like everything's going through. We're live on Twitter Spaces, so you should be able to hear us on there as well. I apologize if anybody's having some issues. Russell Westbrook is in the house, so ice cold, dude. So we're freezing over here. We're trying to speed it up. But hey, welcome in, everybody. Welcome. Stanley, I see you. Mike Monticello, Lane, Charles, Callum, welcome in. We got the bouncer here. PK, Charles, Piero, Brian, welcome in. L Exposed. Hopefully that's the Lakers Exposed. Central Valley Kings, Alfie Man, Gothan, welcome. Jim is here, Tito. Wow, we got a bunch of people in the house tonight. Welcome in, everybody, and everyone else I didn't mention. I see Sac Kings 005 is in here. But hey, welcome in, guys. Welcome. Christian is here. Unfortunately, the Kings do lose tonight, 134-136 to the LA Lakers. Calvin, this was a tough loss tonight. It really was. But hey, we watched the game together, and dude, what did I tell you in the third quarter? It was not looking good for the Sacramento Kings. Not that I'm, Miss Cleo or anything like that, because I suck at predicting the future. But hey, I was not liking the flow of this game. I saw, Domantas Sabonis getting in foul trouble. I was a little worried with that. We saw LeBron James cooking in this game. Obviously, Malik Monk was out, so I was worried about bench production. And hey, the Kings, a little bit of bench production. 11 points from Trey Lyles, big game for him. 4 points by Rashawn Holmes, and 9 points of Davion Mitchell. 10 minutes for Terrence Davis, no points for him tonight. So it was a rough go. But Calvin, this was a high-scoring affair with teams hitting a ton of shots early in this game. We thought they were going for 150 at halftime, right? But hey, the Kings lose tonight. It was unfortunate. T's pissed off. I'm pissed off as well. But hey, you can't always beat the Lakers as much as I would love to, Calvin. But real quick, before we kind of dive into things, can we talk about just kind of the final few minutes there? Because there was some goofy stuff going on. I know the Kings challenged that foul by De'Aaron Fox, and, maybe I was on board with that, maybe not. The thing that I was concerned about was if you lose that challenge, you can't advance the ball, which makes it really, really tough there at the end. Yeah. So what were your thoughts on that?
I don't know, man. I felt like it wasn't a foul, but I also felt like it was going to be a very hard challenge to win, to overturn. with how the game is officiated these days, where an offensive player, is allowed to initiate contact and still get the benefit of the call, 9 times out of 10, I thought it was going to be really hard to win. And I think you make a really good point with there being that little time left on the clock. Being able to advance the ball in that situation would have really, really helped. So, it's really tough. If the Kings didn't, again, just like the Atlanta game, turn the ball over when they had a chance to take the lead, late in the game, things would have been very different as well. It's just a really tough loss. The Kings have been in this kind of mode lately, playing a lot of very tightly contested games. I think it goes back to the statement that I made over and over again early on in the season, that there is a new level of competitive balance in the NBA. There's a lot of really, really good teams, and you're going to go through ups and downs, every team, even the best ones, all season long. We've seen the Suns be at the top of the West, all of a sudden fall, after losing 5 in a row. This is going to happen to everybody, I think, throughout the course of the year because of how many good teams there are and how you have to turn around every night and play a really tightly contested game against a really good team. I know everybody wants to talk about the officiating, and it's going to continue to be a topic of interest, I think, all season long. But I think what it came down to at the end there is the fact that the Kings were red hot in the first half for most of the game, but especially in the first half, particularly from 3. And down the stretch there, the Lakers were able to get inside, get easy buckets, and the Kings all of a sudden went cold from 3, and that really handicapped them down the stretch. Fox almost brought him back himself. But again, in a really tight late quarter or late game situation, you can't have costly mistakes like those turnovers. Domantas Sabonis fouling out is big. And then, the Lakers were able to capitalize on those things.
Yeah, I see some people here in the chat frustrated about the officiating. This seems like a little bit of a theme this season, right? We've been really, really upset with the officials after a ton of games. Honestly, Calvin, I think this was probably one of the better officiated games that we've seen for the Sacramento Kings this season. My problem is that the officiating does not seem consistent throughout the game. So something that was a foul in the second or third quarter, all of a sudden in the fourth is not a foul, or likewise, something that was not called a foul early on in the game, all of a sudden is a foul in crunch time, which has got to be extremely frustrating as a player because you're constantly trying to adjust on how much contact is allowed, right? I mean, you look at those last couple plays, yes, Fox had the turnover late, or maybe it was Trey Lyles inbounding the ball to him, which was quite unfortunate, and that set them up. But, it's just so frustrating seeing that a foul in the second quarter is not a foul in the fourth quarter in the other way around. Is that something that you kind of see regularly, Calvin? Because that really, really stood out to me in this game. And like I said, this was probably one of the better officiated games for the Kings this season because, dude, like we talk about one of those other losses, I had 5 or 6 calls ready that I could point out and say, this was not a foul or this should have been a foul. It didn't happen. I have a couple of those this game, but I feel like I have a couple every game. But what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I do think that not just this season, but in, the majority of the time that I've watched basketball, if a game is really tight down the stretch, you do see more bumps and, things that maybe you could, especially if it's not a playoff game, more things that you would think maybe you could let go start to get called because it's a tight game. And officials don't want to, there's two sides to look at it. You could say if you're the officials, you don't want to get involved and you want to let the players play it out, which I think everybody who's a Kings fan is in favor of tonight, right? But typically, I think you do see officials start to call more things in a tight game down the stretch. But your point is interesting because I do think that over the course of an entire game this season, I've seen more dramatic swings in the way things are called from one quarter to the next, from 5 minutes to the next 5 minutes, than I've ever seen. The Utah game really stands out to me, this most recent one. There was 3 to 4 minute stretches where nothing was called, and then all of a sudden it was 6 travels in a row, and ticky-tack fouls that are being called here and there. That's the type of stuff that I don't remember seeing as much. It seems pretty normal to me in a tight game late in the game that the whistles are going to blow. But I do think that you're onto something there with the amount of swings back and forth over the course of an entire game. It seems more dramatic to me. I know they're calling a ton more travels this year, which definitely amplifies the number of whistles that blow over the course of a game in general. But I think that it definitely needs to be looked at. The NBA has been working towards this free-flowing offense, high-scoring games, the take foul being taken away. All of that stuff has added or led to the explosion in offense that we've seen over the course of the last 5 to 10 years, combined with the fact that the shooting from everybody in the NBA has gotten so incredibly better. I mean, that's one of the main things as to why scoring is up. Everybody can shoot the ball at a really, really high percentage now. But I do think the NBA is very dangerously teetering on how the game is officiated right now. It's definitely going to be a topic of conversation for the rest of the year for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Shout out to Key Kings for joining in. Sass is here. Tom, Blue Diamond, Jen. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. Jim is here. Good to see you guys. And California Rider. Very frustrating. Technically, it's a foul, but ticky-tack to call with 2 seconds left in a tie game. Yeah, I agree. And like I was saying, the frustrating thing is we've seen moments where the referees have, swallowed their whistle and been like, we don't want to be responsible for the outcome of this game, right? We want to make you win the game, not win it because of us. Versus in this game, Calvin, it seemed a little bit different. The end of the game, the referees were happy to be involved in calling fouls. Okay, so, let's talk a little bit about this Fox foul late in the game, right? There's 2 seconds left. De'Aaron Fox is there. I know you were frustrated with the call because we were talking about who initiated the contact, right? Was it Fox? We saw there was contact. It was clear. There was body contact on that play, but who initiated the contact? And then it looked to me like De'Aaron Fox kind of backed away, right? He had his hands up. That is a really, really tough call. And my whole thing is when you challenge something, it's kind of like the same in the NFL, right? Where if there's not enough evidence to overturn it, it doesn't matter if the original call was right or wrong. They're going to stick with the original call unless the evidence is overwhelming. So, if that had not been called a foul and the Lakers had challenged it, I don't think it would have been reversed. It was called a foul on the floor, so the Kings challenged it. It's not reversed. And then we see on the opposite end of the floor, right, where De'Aaron Fox is rushing up, gets off that three-pointer. He's extremely frustrated after the game because he thinks that there's contact with him. You and I watched the replay closely, and I was like, okay, there was a little bit of contact with the hand there. But I hate that call, honestly, Calvin. I do hate that call because it did not affect the shot, right? It was clearly after, and it pisses me off when players get these fouls at the three-point line because there was a little contact with the follow-through after the shot was out. However, you said, I would be pissed about them not giving him a landing area. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I think that because we've talked so much about the high frequency of how fouls are called on jump shots these days, especially from the three-point line, the point of emphasis to eliminate, taking away a player's landing space when they go up for three. That's what I would have been more upset about if I was De'Aaron Fox, not necessarily the minor contact on the arm, which, like you said, was clearly long after the ball was released. But the fact, and I know De'Aaron Fox's momentum is kind of carrying him into it. Personally, I don't think that there was much there to call a foul on anything. But I just feel like if you're going to be arguing something, you maybe have a better argument for that, taking away the landing space, than the foul or the touch on the arm, which was a very, very slight touch. I get it if you're closing out on somebody and your momentum takes you into them and you actually move the player's arm after they've shot. Westbrook didn't do it on that play, but he was right there when De'Aaron Fox came down. Like I said before, I'm not sure if I was an official, I don't think I would have called anything there. I probably wouldn't have called anything on the possession before that with Fox. So it's tough. I think the fact that the Kings have been on, the wrong side of this, it just continues to mount and build.
It's inconsistency, Calvin.
It's inconsistency, and it's across the board. It's not just the Kings. I know we watch the Kings games every night, and we feel like the Kings are always the team on the wrong end of this. Every team around the league is being officiated the same way, the same inconsistent way, because they're trying to change how the game is called right now. They're trying to eliminate certain plays, create more open opportunities for, fast break opportunities, dunks, things like that, more points. That's what the NBA wants, absolutely. So I think if you're in the NBA, you see this game goes 136, 133, you're like, oh, man, this is great. If you're not a diehard Kings fan, and you just happen to tune into this game, you probably had a great time watching it.
Yeah, the NBA definitely won tonight, right? They got a win for their LA Lakers, a storied franchise, right, that has probably the biggest fan base in the world. The Kings lose, and it's a high-scoring, exciting game for people to watch. So the NBA is the real winner tonight. Unfortunately, not the Sacramento Kings. Charles, it was a foul. Yeah, there was contact, but like I said, I really don't like that call. I think it's a bailout call. I think they need to get rid of that contact with the follow-through after the ball's already been released if it hasn't impacted the shot. But like Calvin said, dude, the real problem is there's been so much inconsistency in the officiating. It's like sometimes it's a foul, sometimes it's not. Yes, there is the human error aspect in there, but it's just been really, really frustrating watching. So I definitely feel all you guys out there. Shout out to Afghan for joining in. Looks like Jesus is here in the house. Welcome in, Jesus. Could have used your help tonight, Jesus. A couple miracles for the Sacramento Kings would have been great. Jesus has got to go take a shower. Dude, Jesus, real fans watch Royal Rebounds in the shower, just so you know. Pika House is here. Welcome in. Dennis is here. Tom is here. Bench Matthew. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, guys, real quick. Please smash up that like button. Calvin and I are fans. We're just here having fun. Fred is here in the house. Wendy is here. Welcome in, everybody. Neil, welcome into group therapy. But please smash up that like button. Calvin and I are here for fun. We get paid in likes. That's your entry to get here. So please smash up that like button. We got 80 people watching, only 30 likes. Come on, guys. Come on, please. It doesn't cost anything to hit that like button. Okay, Calvin, I'm catching up here in the chat. What are your other thoughts, kind of real quick, before we dive into the box score?
I think the thing that's definitely on the front of my mind and the front of most people's is I just keep thinking back to Mike Brown's interview after practice the other day, where he was talking about how the Kings have to be better defending in the paint and comparing them to his Warriors teams, which did not have a lot of size either, but were excellent defensive teams and really, really made it hard to score inside with guys that are, similar heights to what the players they have now. Defensive ability and talent and all that stuff, and team defensive ability is definitely not equal, but it's surely possible. They have to be able to do that unless they're going to make moves and change the roster, add height, which I know everybody wants to do. But until you do that, you got to play with the players that you have, and they have to be better. They absolutely have to be better defending inside. It was my number one key going into this game was make the Lakers jump shooting team, outside shooting team. They shot really well from the outside in the first half, but they kind of faded a little bit back to the norm late in the game there. And I know it's easier said than done to stop LeBron, but at some point you have to be better at creating walls early and keeping teams out of the paint early and often, forcing them into shots that aren't the first option. And until the Kings do that, they're still a good team, but they're going to be this, up and down, back and forth, 5th to 7th to 8th, back up to 5th, all the way up to 4th, and then slide, because they can't be consistent enough defensively to go on a big winning streak that is going to, solidify them as one of the top 5 teams in the West.
Calvin, this emotional roller coaster that is the Sacramento Kings season is going to be the death of me. I swear to God, Calvin, it is, dude. It is. It's crazy. It's all over the place. Shout out to Ricky for joining in. What's up, Ricky? Good to see you there. Jim wants to know, should they add a 4th official? Yeah, Jim, they need 4, 5, 6 officials out there. Maybe we need someone up in the booth to help review plays. Something, dude. They got to do something to make these calls a little bit more consistent. I definitely think that is a must. That is a must. PK needs to tap into the beer fund. Hey, PK, you know how to tap in there, bro. Just hit that super chat button. Also, just real quick, before we kind of dive in a little bit deeper in the show, I know a lot of channels have started to add memberships in. I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on memberships, maybe $1 a month, $2 a month, something like that to support the channel. It would allow you guys to have extra emojis, different colored names in the chat. Maybe Calvin and I can work out some extra features for people that are members. So I'm curious, would you guys be interested in being a member of the channel? Let me know down below in the chat, because I'd definitely like to hear that. Calvin, I mean, there was no defense tonight, right, for either team, for the Lakers, for the Sacramento Kings. What do you think happened on the defensive end of the floor tonight?
Well, it started with both teams being incredibly hot from the field. I mean, both of these teams are actually really similar, especially when you add the fact that Anthony Davis didn't play tonight. They're smaller teams, undersized teams that play extremely fast. They're both in the top 4 in pace. They both love to attack the paint. They both got a guy inside, whether it's LeBron or tonight like Thomas Bryant, that they can kind of play inside out off of. And they love to get up and down. And at halftime, I actually thought everything was in favor or going the way, not exactly the way you'd want it to go for Sacramento, but I thought they would pull away if the game was continued to be played like this, because the Kings were winning the rebounding battle. They were getting a lot of offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities. They were knocking down threes. The bench came in and hit a bunch of threes. When that stuff happens, Harrison Barnes was scoring. That usually means that the Kings win. So I thought that they were going to have this game, not necessarily in the bag, but they were going to be able to take this game on their home floor. They didn't do those things late in the game. It was a very tightly contested game, and I think that both teams, the fact that they started out executing so well and knocking down shots, Russell Westbrook is hitting threes, Patrick Beverley is hitting threes, that all of a sudden changes the way you play the game, because now you have to think, okay, the things that we're going to give them, we can't give them anymore. And that completely opened up the game for LeBron. It allowed him to take over, get inside. I mean, not to say that he couldn't have done those things either way, but when you have to worry about Russell Westbrook shooting threes, it makes it a little easier for LeBron to get into the lane and create havoc, whether it's him scoring or dumping the ball off. That's why Thomas Bryant got going. So, and I think the Kings were hitting on
Thomas Bryant.
All cylinders in the beginning as well. Kevin Huerter was on fire. Keegan Murray couldn't miss. Harrison Barnes was doing well. So both teams were just trading haymakers all game long, and neither were really able to make the big defensive stops for good portions of this game, 2, 3, 4 minutes, to where they could really get a control of it. And that's why it was so back and forth, and it came down to the last couple of plays.
Yeah, we saw quite a few runs in this game, whether it was the Kings or the Lakers go on extensive, 12-0, 11-0, 11-2 runs, stuff like that. Defense was hard to come by in this game. Calvin, it's a rough one when we're drinking old fashions here in the Royal Rebound studio. Fred says, bro, LeBron gets the whistle every time. You can't defend him when he's allowed to be aggressive on offense, but you can't be physical. Yeah, LeBron's one of those guys, man, and you've been doing it for 20 years in the NBA. You do get a little bit a little bit extra from the referees. So
it's true. They did call a very critical offensive foul on him late in the game against Keegan Murray too. I mean,
yep, that's true.
That definitely helped Sacramento.
Dennis says too many close games. I agree with that. Ricky, wish Brown did not challenge that play. Could have had a better 3-point shot. I totally agree, dude. I was hoping they would have held off on that, kept the timeout. They could have advanced the ball and had a much better shot at it. That's for sure.
Yeah, Mike,
Jesus
I'm not
is
saying
back.
it wasn't a foul. But
so, guys, no more talking smack about
Jesus
Jesus in the chat. He's back, guys. So take it easy on Jesus. You guys want merch? Dude, check out RoyalRebounds.com. We got some awesome merch available. We got the End the Streak shirt. We got a couple other awesome shirts. If there's anything that you want particular, let us know. We'd be happy to add something. But check out RoyalRebounds.com. We got some cool licensed Royal Rebounds merch with some awesome Royal Rebounds tags.
I think maybe that was a suggestion for the membership. Like you get some, I don't know if that's what he meant or not, but
maybe we could work something out like that.
You know?
I don't know if that would work at $1 a month, Calvin, but we could figure something out. We definitely figure something out. Shout out to Tom here. Tom, if you can't get gear where you are, check out lids.com. You can buy a ton of Kings gear on lids.com. They'll ship it to your house for you. Whatever you do not sign up for the Lids membership, because then you'll be like me and you'll order 20-plus hats and have a lifetime supply of Kings hats, which I guess is great, dude. It is great. Calvin, I should just wear a different hat on every stream and see how long we can make it, because dude, I got a pretty good collection. I got a pretty good collection.
A great collection.
Jim says at this point Calvin won't have to worry about his hair. Yeah, he's gonna be pulling it all out by the time this season's over. That's for sure.
Oh, I'll be pulling it out. That's fair. That's definitely fair.
Dude, both of us are gonna be losing our hair, dude. Just stressing out about these games. We're not gonna have any hair left to trim. That's for sure. Mio says Kings are a bad defensive team, is what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. And Domantas Sabonis fouled out in that game, which is surprising. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but I thought the dude was going to foul out like in 2 minutes, dude, after he picked up that fifth foul. Actually held it. He didn't foul out till like 40 seconds left in the game, which I thought was incredible. Great game by Domantas Sabonis. But, hey, Calvin, let's hold off because I got a lot. You know, you have a lot to say about it, so we'll hold off on Sabonis for a little bit. Shout out to Gothen here. Gothen's buying some more beers for us. Thank you for the super chat, Gothen. We greatly appreciate it. Guys, if you want to contribute to the beer fund, hit that super chat button, hit that super sticker button. If you can't afford it, hit the thumbs up button. That's free. That helps support us. Share this channel with all your favorite Kings fans. It really, really does help. I do have to say, guys, one thing that's really, really cool, and I know I talk shit about bandwagon fans all the time, but, dude, I was feeling some love from some bandwagons this weekend. I got to say, Calvin, we've been going to the Kapalua Century Golf Tournament of Champions. It's on the PGA Tour. It's the first tournament of the year. If you won a tournament throughout the year, shout out to Wendy, because I know Wendy's here in the chat. She comes here to Maui just for the golf tournament, and we've been hanging out. But, dude, I've been seeing Kings fans, Calvin, in Maui at the golf tournament. I saw a guy wearing a purple Kings shirt yesterday. I yell at him, light the beam, light the beam. And he's so stoked. I met some other people from Sacramento that are big Kings fans, so it's really, really cool to see people wearing Kings gear out in public. I know there's been a while where, dude, I was wearing it. And honestly, Calvin, I didn't have any Kings gear on yesterday, but it's okay, dude. I got a Kings tattoo. So, like, I'll just show that off anytime I need to if someone doesn't believe me. But I do have to say, it is cool to see people wearing Kings gear out in public, because I know for a while a lot of people were worried too. So hey, I'm going to stop rambling here, Calvin, and let's dive here into the box score. So, as I said, Lakers win tonight 136-134. As much as it pains me to say that, that's the truth, guys. That's the truth. Domantas Sabonis, 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists in 36 minutes. He does foul out in this game. And Calvin, he sets a record. Can we get some cowbell, dude? Just let's get a cowbell for a record going here. Domantas Sabonis is now number 1 in Kings history in consecutive double-doubles, passing DeMarcus Cousins. This was his 16th consecutive double-double, is now the Kings' record. And Calvin, this is the most for anybody in the NBA this season, which is wild considering Kevon Looney is top 10 in All-Star voting, and Domantas Sabonis is not on the list. What the fuck, guys? We got to keep voting every single day for these Kings All-Stars if you want to see them. All I got to say is at least the fan vote is only 50%. Hopefully coaches will look at it and they'll say, hey, Sabonis is having a much better season than Kevon Looney. I mean, the records are better. The stats are better. He's just an overall better player. He should definitely be in the All-Star game. But, guys, do your part. Vote every day. Please, please, please. If you don't have the link to vote, all you got to do is go to our Twitter page, Royal_Rebounds. It's posted right on the top. It's pinned up there. It's got a link. You click on it. I already got all 5 Kings starters. You just hit submit, and your vote is in. You could do it every single day until January 27th. So please, 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 please vote. Calvin, I never thought I would be asking people to rock the vote, but here I am. Please, please, please vote for the All-Star game. I love my life. Good to see you. Anyways, back to the box score. Harrison Barnes, 18 points and 2 rebounds in 36 minutes of action. 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range. 16 points for Keegan Murray in only 29 minutes of action. Well, I'll ask you a little bit about that, Calvin, but I thought Keegan Murray should have been out there more. 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from three-point range. And you mentioned that important charge he got, or the offensive foul he got on LeBron James late in this game, which was absolutely huge. De'Aaron Fox, 34 points, 2 rebounds, 9 assists in 38 minutes of action, 11 of 21 from the field, 0 of 2 from three-point range, 17 points for Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter was extremely hot in this game. He cooled off late. I know he was like 3 of 4, 3 of 5 from three-point range in the first half, ends 3 of 9, so did not make a three-pointer in the second half of this game. 6 rebounds and 3 assists for him. 11 points for Trey Lyles off the bench. 9 points for Davion Mitchell. And as I mentioned, Malik Monk was out dealing with a lower leg injury. And apparently, according to Coach Brown, he's been dealing with quite a few injuries. So they're piling up. This is not something to worry about. Just a little bit of rest for him. He is a little banged up. His first game that he's missed of the season. So hopefully Malik Monk will be back for the game against Orlando on Monday. As far as the LA Lakers go, 37 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists for LeBron James, 29 points and 14 rebounds for Thomas Bryant. Huge night, dude. This is a career night for Thomas Bryant. I thought he was all over the place. And 27 points for Dennis Schroeder, whatever the hell you want to call him. 23 points and 15 assists for Mr. Ice Cold Russell Westbrook. Calvin, anything here that really, really stood out for you in the box score?
I think it's just the explosion of offense from everybody. You mentioned all these guys. Thomas Bryant, a near 30-point game. Russell Westbrook, the amount of threes that he made in this game. Everybody was padding their stats tonight. There was not a lot of defensive stoppage on anybody. You could score if you got in the game today.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is definitely for sure. Shout out to Ricky. Ricky said he's been going to Clippers-Kings game in LA for the past 5 years. This last game was different. Yeah, it was. They were chanting light the beam in crypto.com. That made me feel great, dude. That really, really made me feel great. Shout out to DJ here for joining in. Wow, guys, we almost got 100 people watching tonight. In a loss, Calvin. In a loss, dude. I've been talking smack about everybody that doesn't show up on the stream when we lose basketball games, Calvin. Some people just want to show up when they win, dude. They want to just be here, celebrate a little bit, right? Light the beam in the chat and move on with their lives. But, Calvin, we're here every time, dude. It doesn't matter. Win, loss, draw, tie, whatever, canceled games. We're here, dude. We're doing post-game, and we're having fun. So shout out to everybody that's joining in tonight. You guys are the real MVPs, the real Kings fans out there. So shout out to all you guys. As far as the team stats go tonight, 52% from the field for the Sacramento Kings as opposed to 61 for the LA Lakers, 43.8 from three-point range for the Kings. They did make 14, Calvin, which the Kings play much better when they make 13 a game. So unfortunately, that was not enough. Only 9 threes tonight for the LA Lakers on 21 attempts. 81% from the line for both teams. The Kings did get out rebounded this game 38-34. I saw somebody in the chat mentioning Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray only combining for 2 rebounds. is a really big reason why the Kings didn't have a lot of second chance points in this game. And like I said, Thomas Bryant just killed us. He killed us on the boards. Offensive rebounds for him. Dude, I don't have enough fingers to count how many rebounds that guy had in this game. 25 assists for the Sacramento Kings, which is definitely on the lower end, something we don't like to see. 14 turnovers for the Kings as opposed to 17 for the LA Lakers, so that does favor the Kings, but that's not enough when you allow 70, that's right, 70 points in the paint for the LA Lakers. Anything on the team stats, Calvin, that really stood out to you? Shout out to Angel.
Yeah, it's the points in the paint. I mean, that's the thing that kills the Kings. Their inability to defend in the paint. You know, rebounding has been a killer for them in certain games this year, in certain seasons in the past. I think they've elevated themselves that they can overcome getting out rebounded. You know, not every night. When Steven Adams pulls down 13 offensive rebounds, that's a backbreaker, but they've gotten better to the fact that, you know, just rebounding itself isn't going to be the nail in the coffin for them, but not being able to stop teams inside is really what it comes down to for me. Mike Brown said it himself. That's going to be what separates them and makes them ultimately a team that isn't just a fun team and a good team and maybe even a playoff team, but a team that you think might actually be able to win in the playoffs. Oh, maybe Barry took a bathroom break or something. But yeah, I mean,
that was a test. You passed, Calvin. That was a test.
Thanks, dude.
You
want to
passed
see if I can
the
keep
test.
it going, huh?
That's a test for you guys in the chat, too. Just see if I'm still here. Make sure you guys weren't talking smack about me, think I was grabbing another beer or something like that. You know, I like to have fun sometimes, guys. I know I'm serious, Barry, all the time, but sometimes I like to have a little bit of fun, even in a loss, dude, because you know what, guys? We've been losing for so long. I'm used to it, dude. You could call me a loser. I don't know. I mean, I want to win. I try. Calvin, I try my best, dude. I try my best, and that's what the Sacramento Kings are doing right now is they're trying their best. They didn't try their best on the defensive end of the floor, and that's probably why. Shout out to Mr. Angel here. Mr. Angel, did you leave us a super chat at the beginning of the stream? As I appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you for adding into the beer fun here. But yeah, we're going to talk about Chima a little bit later. As you guys know, he was waived yesterday, so that does open up another roster spot for the Kings. I know you guys want a backup center. You want a rim protector, a little block action, somebody to help Sabonis out. We'll definitely talk about that here. So just hold on, pump the brakes for a little bit, pump the brakes. First off, what I want to do for everybody, Calvin, I think we should start a new section on the show here. Maybe I should have started earlier in the game. We let everybody get out their frustration, right? Everybody write a 4-letter curse word in the chat. Just get it all out right now, Everybody just write whatever you're angry about in the chat. We'll just let it all out. And then we'll just all relax. We'll close our eyes. We'll start some meditation music, Calvin. We'll just all calm down for a little bit here. We'll just let it out. Focus on the breathing. Just let out the breathing. Focus in and out. Let all that anger out. We just got to let it all out. Yeah. Kings Gibby. My hat is fired. I know. Thank you. Check it out. Lids.com. But hey, yeah, we're doing yoga now. I mean, dude, this is therapy sometimes, Mike, sometimes this is therapy because, dude, if you guys want to kill me, literally, you just make me talk negative for like 2 or 3 hours after every single loss, just, oh my God, this sucks. We're horrible. The roof is on fire. The team is burning down. I see people constantly leaving the channel now. They're like, I thought we were talking about the Kings. Now we're doing yoga. What the fuck is going on? Right? But hey, guys, we just have to pace ourselves. We're still 2 games above 500. We're 20-18. It's okay, guys. Just relax. Relax a little bit. Yeah, Lake Show sucks. I agree with you, Redacted. I agree with you. The Lake Show sucks, baby. That's for sure. Anyways, Calvin, let's jump back in here. Meditation's over. That was a horrible run meditation session, I know. But Calvin, let's talk about let's talk a little bit about Domantas Sabonis, because there was something interesting that popped up, talking about this, right? Where is the bouncer, Charles? We got to write him up, dude. This might be a write-up for the bouncer. He's not available right now. I don't know what's going on. He said there was some weather issues. Hopefully you guys are all safe and okay right now, because there is a lot of weather issues going on right now. So hopefully you guys are definitely okay. Also, shout out to Gothan here for the super chat. Gothan, thank you. We appreciate you so much.
Shout out to Mr.
You're
Angel,
awesome.
man.
And also, wow, Mr. Angel, $50 super chat. Shout out to you. It was just hard for someone to call me drunk a la Carmichael Dave when calling a bad loss for what it was. Me and my son enjoy true defense, and when it's debated by the claim of alcohol, it's disrespectful. All love for you guys. Yeah, Mr. Angel, it's all good, bro. It's all good.
Man,
we love everybody on this channel.
I enjoy true defense too, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Calvin, I got to get back on track here, dude. They're losing me, bro. They're losing me. I'm about to spiral out of control here. Let's talk a little bit about Sabonis. Let's talk about the foul trouble, because honestly, I think maybe Sabonis has been a little bit of exposed here, dude. We know that this Kings team runs on Domantas Sabonis, right? We know he's the engine of this Kings team. When he gets in foul trouble, it makes it really, really hard. And we saw, what'd you say at halftime? You said, hey, the Lakers should just be switching on the high pick and roll and just attacking Sabonis over and over and over. And we saw LeBron James do it a few times, and then they kind of laid off, which was strange, because I thought that they were going to get Sabonis out of this game really, really quickly. Give me your thoughts here.
Well, I mean, if that's got to be number one or number two on every team's scouting report when it comes to the Sacramento Kings, right? Sabonis has had troubles with fouls all season long. If you've got a player that is able to, attack him off of the pick and roll, just like we've been saying about Nikola Jokic, or attacking Trae Young or something like that, if LeBron's on your team, how could you not go at him and try to get that switch every single time? I thought the Kings should have tried to put a stop to it way earlier, and what I mean by that is basically sending a third defender and trapping him at the three-point line. You can't afford. I would much rather give up an open three every single possession than allow LeBron to get into the paint before a second defender comes over to guard him, especially when Sabonis has got 5 fouls. I mean, you're rolling the dice with the game literally every single time you do that. So kudos to the Lakers, because that's exactly how they should have attacked Sacramento. I just don't think that the Kings did a good job, even though Sabonis did a great individual job of not picking up that 6th foul until very, very late in the game. With the way the refs are calling it, it's a huge gamble you're taking, and an inside shot against the Kings, just like an inside shot against any team, I'd much rather see Westbrook or Patrick Beverly or one of these guys put up a wide open three than allow LeBron to get into the paint on every play. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought you had to blitz that screen and send another person at them.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, right? We're making fun of Gabriel, right, for fouling out early in this game, right? That last foul was hilarious. He's guarding somebody on the perimeter. He's got 5 fouls and just ticky-tack. Boom, you're out of the game. We saw Anthony Davis chewing him out on the sideline, basically like, what the hell are you doing, right? You're forcing LeBron to go in the game because they don't really have much else. But, hey, Sabonis fouls out in this game. Yes, it was in the last minute. But, Calvin, I mean, what do you think Sabonis needs to do himself to try and stay out of foul trouble? Is it be less aggressive early in the game? Is it, like you said, bring in an extra defender? Or like, what can Sabonis do himself to try and stay in some of these games longer? Because it's no secret at this point. If Sabonis is fouling out, it really, really hurts the Kings.
It does really hurt the Kings. And, I mean, to be fair to him, he didn't foul out until the 48-second mark of the game. So we've had this conversation earlier in the year multiple times. I don't know that there's much that I would change about the way Sabonis is playing. He's pretty good about defending, staying vertical. I think that just like a lot of, many players in the league, you do think sometimes that your hands are straight up and down, but you do, slightly bring them down or angle them. The officials are going to call that every time. And you and I were talking about the way he plays on offense today. He's lucky he doesn't get more offensive fouls called on him. Not that I'm saying I think that he fouls people in the post every time, but if I was an opposing coach against him, I would say, man, look, he's going to come in, take 2 dribbles, and throw his shoulder into you. If you fall down, there's a good chance you're going to get that call. That's exactly how I would be playing him. So I don't know that there's really any way or many things I would tell him specifically to do differently that's going to get less fouls called. He's a big guy, the only big guy on this team that's the last line of defense in the paint against a team that allows people to score at will inside. He's always having to come over and challenge shots. So I think the fact that he hasn't fouled out more is actually impressive. I'm not sure I would really change much about the way he plays.
Yeah, and maybe another reason why the Kings need to bring in another big, right? A backup, or maybe just, a rim protector, somebody that can take a little bit of pressure so Sabonis is not having to contest all those shots at the basket. What up to Patrick? Good to see you, Patrick. Welcome in here. Double O. Good to see you guys. Redacted, bro, you don't need to yell, man. There's a little button on the left side of your keyboard. It says cap locks. If you press that, it makes you type in all capitals. But if you press it again, then you type in all lowercase. So I know you're not good with computers, but just a thought, man. You don't got to be yelling at everybody in the chat. Hopefully you guys enjoy my poll.
You also don't even have your own team's number of rings correct, so maybe you should just move along.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. And hopefully you guys love my poll, because I put that, dude. I'm for real, man. I'm for real. Redacted is about to get retracted, as the bouncer says. All right, so let's move on here. We talked a little bit about Sabonis. I thought this was a great game. Other than the foul trouble, other than him fouling out, Sabonis does his thing, man. He does his thing. But Harrison Barnes, 18 points. I thought he shot well in this game. 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range, but only 2 rebounds, an assist, only picked up 1 personal foul. I'm surprised, Calvin, because this is the guy that was probably should be the guy guarding LeBron James through the majority of this game, right? It's got to be Harrison Barnes, in my opinion. You're not going to put Keegan Murray on him. You're not going to put Sabonis on him, even though the switch happens, stuff like that. What were your thoughts on Harrison Barnes? What did he do that you liked? And then what could he have done to help out Sabonis maybe a little bit more? You mentioned sending a third player over on that high pick and roll action, but is there anything that Harrison Barnes could have done specifically?
Well, I don't think so, because Harrison Barnes is the guy getting screened on those plays. So, you can argue that he needs to fight through the screen better and allow Sabonis to switch back onto, his man sooner. But I think that, the way that the Lakers were going about that, there's not much really that Harrison Barnes could have done, being the primary defender there on the screen and roll. I think you had to send the extra guy, whoever's guarding Westbrook, whoever's guarding Beverly if he's in the game. You've got to force LeBron to pass the ball before he really wants to pass it. If you wait and allow him to get into the lane where he's got so many options, whether he can put up the shot himself, get a foul called, and one, or kick it, and slide it off to an open player in the paint for an easy shot. There's just too many options that way. But if you're forcing him to get rid of the ball earlier, you have a better chance, even if you have to scramble defensively. The Kings scrambling tonight were actually not that bad. Their closeouts were really great. That Kevin Huerter closeout on Westbrook, even though he got the foul, it was a great closeout. He just overran it, and Westbrook took advantage of it, and he put his hand on him for some reason when he really should have just been, completely hands off and let him put up the shot. But it was still a really good closeout. That's it's putting a lot of stress on your defense. But again, I'd much rather have those 3-point opportunities than LeBron inside. So I don't know what Harrison Barnes does differently in that situation if you're getting screened on the ball, but it's the other guys around him. I think that you pointed out earlier the fact that Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes combined for 2 rebounds. That's a big thing for me. I think for Harrison Barnes to have a bigger impact or bigger effect on the game, rebounding would have been one of those things. He had a great tip back or put back dunk on an offensive rebound, but other than that, there wasn't much to say for it. Part of that is, because of guarding LeBron, he's got to follow him literally everywhere all over the floor. But if the shot goes up, your team's already at a disadvantage being smaller and lack of rebounding inside anyway. You've got to go crash the glass. So I thought it, when you're playing one-on-one defense against LeBron or on-ball defense, it's kind of, you can only do what you can do. I thought his effort was good, and he scored tonight too. The area that he really could have made a bigger difference is getting a couple more rebounds.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Key King says, I hate how we blame the refs for each loss. How about we play hard and angry and go punch a player or two? Dude, I couldn't agree more, Key Kings. I'm not blaming this on the refs at all. I voiced my frustration at the inconsistencies with the referees' calls throughout games. However, this is 100% on the Kings, dude. They lost this game. They didn't play defense, and they didn't make shots that, at the end of the game, get stops at the end. So I am 100% blaming this loss on the Sacramento Kings. I'm not blaming on the refs at all. Calvin, we're checking in here to Twitter Spaces. We got Fred. He is a Kings fan from the UK. Fred, how are you, man? Welcome in.
How you doing, guys? You good?
We're doing great, man. How are you tonight?
You can hear me, yeah? Yeah, I'm good. About the last phone call, I phoned you, didn't I, like a few weeks ago? 15 quid that cost me 3 minutes. Well worth it, Bo.
Oh, wow.
We're expensive to hang out with, Fred. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't care. It's well worth it. So I'm so glad my actual phone died, Bo, because it would have cost me a fortune. I was chatting away. Anyway, tonight's game. Man, if we had Malik Monk, we would have won that easily.
You think
We would have
so,
won
huh?
that. Yeah, definitely. He brings a little bit of charisma. He brings a bit of ego. He brings swag, doesn't he? And I think we just... He just brings that swag, doesn't he? And I think just having Malik in there tonight, like he's proved to me in like the previous games, he just brings it, doesn't he? Especially against the Lakers. And LeBron was up for that tonight, wasn't he? LeBron was up for that. Like, we beat him twice in preseason. Did we beat them twice in preseason? We blew them out twice in preseason, didn't we? I mean, we've already beaten them twice this season. I think LeBron was well up for that game tonight. And we didn't get blown out. So Westbrook played well. LeBron played brilliantly, I think. Like you guys were saying, I think LeBron played like 3 or 4 different positions tonight. He was guarding Sabonis, he was doing this and he was doing that. And yeah, do you know what? That ain't a bad result, is it?
It's
another
a tough
close
loss,
game,
for sure.
Fred.
You're
Another
right about
close
that.
game. Calvin, what are your thoughts
Do you know what I mean?
on Monk?
No, go ahead, Fred. You were going to say something else?
No, carry on, guy. I like it when you talk to me as well. I like a little bit of the old interaction.
I think you made a great point about Malik Monk playing against the Lakers. He had a great season for them last year. He definitely seems to come into every game with, like you said, the swagger and the energy.
Yeah,
he brings that sort of attitude that we kind of get on a lot of other Kings players for not having, like Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes. And he definitely adds that, but I think his focus against the Lakers is even bigger. So yeah, I do agree with you. He probably would have had a big game in this one, and it could have turned the tide. It was a very tightly contested game. So yeah, that definitely could have made the difference.
I look at Malik Monk. Okay, so I don't know if you guys follow soccer. Like back in the UK, we had a player called Paul Gascoigne, or even like David Beckham, like on the England team. Going back, a few years, and most guys were always looked at as a player, like if they were called a talisman. I don't know if that's an American thing or a British thing. Is a thing called a talisman? Is that like an American thing?
I'm not sure.
So the talisman is like the heartbeat. Like okay, so the talisman is like he might not always be the best player on the team, but he is the absolute heartbeat of the team. And for me, when I look at the Kings now, it was who did we have? Shumpert. Shump was the heartbeat of that team, wasn't he?
100%.
And I look at the same thing now with Malik Monk, and we kind of lack the heartbeat of the team. And I think if he was playing tonight, I think we would have beaten the Lakers easily. You know, we just lack that heartbeat. You know, that player who can come in and go, all right, come on, guys. You know, he'll get behind Foxy, and you know, we just lack that heartbeat. And I think, you know, when Monk's out, I always think to myself, we're probably going to struggle a little bit, and then we're going to put too much workload on, like Sabonis. We're going to put too much expectancy on Fox. I think it's more workload on Sabonis, and I think it's more expensive. I can't even say that word now. I've had a couple of wines, but expectancy on Fox. But yeah, I think if we had Monk tonight, we would have won that. And I keep looking on social media, and like there's so many Kings fans like panicking. You know, we're not gonna make the playoffs, or we're gonna be this and we're gonna be that. And it's like, come on, dudes, we lost by like a point. Do you see where I'm coming from, man?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you make some great points. First of all, we got a couple of people in the chat asking how you became a Kings fan all the way out in the UK.
Yeah, I can actually tell you now, can't I? I won't get cut off. Anyway, okay, I'm going to give you my history now of being a Sacramento Kings fan. Okay, obviously, I think I said last time, I do club DJing over here in the UK, so my time schedule is completely out of sync compared with like a day worker kind of thing, you know, like if you're working in retail or if you're working in an office. So I kind of get up at midday, and I kind of go to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning. So a few years ago, it was kind of getting me down. I think to myself, I need to do something. I need to watch something to kind of, you know, fill my later hours up when everyone's asleep. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna start following. You know, I'm gonna get into basketball, and I picked a game. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be a Boston Celtics fan because I've heard of the Boston Celtics. And then I watched, and they were playing away at the time. I still remember the game. So they were playing away. They were playing at home. Sorry, the Celtics were playing at home, and they were playing the Kings. And I just remember seeing DeMarcus Cousins, and I thought to myself, I really like this guy. He's a beast. He's passionate, and I'm thinking to myself, fuck the Celtics. I'm going to be a Kings fan.
Yeah, Fred.
So,
yeah, there we go.
Then, you know, from DeMarcus Cousins, just being Tyreek Evans was there as well, you know. Tyreek was great. But just through that DeMarcus passion, I started being a Kings fan. So then I woke up the next day and I looked at the Kings record and I thought to myself, what the fuck have I got myself in for? And yeah, I've just been a hardcore. So I'm hoping, I've just got married this year.
Well, congratulations.
With my other half, and we are actually hoping to come over to the US. We're going to go to Sacramento, LA, San Francisco, but we're going to do it on when the season starts. So we're sort of hoping to go to like maybe LA, catch the Lakers. It all depends on the schedule as well. So hoping to maybe get LA versus Sacramento in LA, and then I can wear my Kings jersey and I can give it all a big one and just cuss the Lakers fans down. And then come to Sac for a week, hopefully for playing 2 or 3 home games. And then with a bit of luck, we'll be playing the Dubs away in San Francisco, and then I can go over there and then we can go.
Well, please
then we're going to go
let
to
us
Seattle.
know when you finalize that trip. We'd love to come to Sacramento and hang out for you. But
you're from Hawaii, aren't you? You guys are in Hawaii, aren't you?
We are, yeah. Well, we made it to Sacramento for the season opener this year. So
what's it like? What is it like? Because I've been watching it on TV. This season looks lit. It does look absolutely lit. Honestly, the atmosphere in the arena just looks, I don't know, it's different this year. There's a bit of passion in there this year. What's it like? What is it like?
What's it like,
Fred,
Calvin?
Tell me, guys.
Tell me, guys. We were only there for the first game this year, which I do think there was a ton of energy in the stadium. But watching games over the past month or so and seeing how loud it's been in there, now that the Kings have actually played through a lot of the games and are still above 500, still relevant, first in the division, all this stuff. I think the energy is even 10 times higher than what it was for that first game when Barry and I were there. I mean, being, Kings fans for a long time, even when they were losing, it was still a fun time to go to a game there. It's an incredibly loyal fan base, but
it's
now
always been the
it's got to be unbelievable. I mean, I think you could probably get that answer from a few people in the chat here who have gone to games more recently than us, but I think it's got to be so much fun.
Fred,
I was watching the game away at Memphis. Yeah.
So
do it.
Like Calvin said, we did a little bit of a tour. I went a little earlier. I did LA. I went to a couple football games. Then we went to Sacramento. We did San Francisco. Like I said, we went to the first game of the season. Now, I don't know what your work schedule looks like, but could you potentially make it for a playoff game this year?
Uh-oh.
Is that a yes, Fred? I said the playoffs, dude. I just blew his mind with the playoffs. Fred, can you hear me?
Yeah, on the Twitter thing.
There you are.
There we go.
Fred? We can hear you.
Fred, can you hear us?
Hello?
Fred can hear us, but we can hear Fred.
I can hear you. You're back. You're back. Your
go.
voices are back with me. I love that. Anyway, you were saying that you went to LA and...
We went to LA, Sacramento, San Francisco. Like I said, we went to the first game of the season, but I would recommend it. I don't know what your work schedule's like, but what about a playoff game? Can we meet up for a playoff game this year in Sacramento?
I don't know. It just depends on working and stuff like that. I would absolutely love to.
Because you're talking about atmosphere. The atmosphere.
Get any better
first playoff game in 16 seasons, Fred. It's probably going to be like a night of work for you at your club, right?
I can probably get time off whenever. So, yeah. But the thing is, we've got to get there first. We have to get there first.
Yes.
That is the big thing. We're looking, and again,
this
is one of the big things with the Kings fans at the minute is, we were expected to get like 9th or 10th, and we were like, okay, if we get 9th or 10th, that's going to be good. But now we're sort of like 5th or 6th, or maybe looking for 4th place. And Kings fans are now sort of blowing their minds when we lose a couple of games, and we still got to get there.
They just won 3 or 4 before they lost today.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Exactly that.
Fred, we're so emotionally damaged, at this point that it's like, one loss and we're just like, oh, my God, here we go again.
Guys.
It does always hurt more to lose to the Lakers,
I love emotionally damaged sports teams, before anyway. Do you guys watch soccer? Do you guys watch soccer? Do you follow football or anything like that?
Yeah.
Like Premier League or...
I used to watch it more. When we were in college, Calvin and I actually worked at an indoor soccer center in California. I played soccer, all through high school and junior high, younger and stuff like that. And it's funny, you mentioned Beckham. I actually watched David Beckham when he was on the San Jose Earthquake. So I got to see him play live in California.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. See, over here, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of history with my sports teams. I actually follow a football team, an English football team that is even worse than the Sacramento Kings.
Okay.
Which team is that?
It's a team called Ipswich Town. Okay. They were last in the Premier League 20 years ago. Wow. So, yeah, and we're now 2 divisions below that. But we're actually quite good now. So we might be in the Premier League in a couple of seasons. So I'm now looking at the Sacramento Kings, maybe being a playoff team,
kind of
my team.
Storyline as the Kings, yeah.
Oh, man.
But do you know what?
Great.
Do you know what? I'm chatting shit now. I do apologize for swearing there, but I always feel that
it's a safe place, man. Let it fly.
I like that, but I always feel that if you follow a team, you get so many people. I like the Lakers, I like Manchester United, I like Manchester City. Those teams expect, those supporters expect wins every single game. But if you follow a team who is pretty shit, but when they actually have a little bit of success, it means so much more. It's so much more,
Yes.
the memories are so much bigger and better.
Definitely.
Does that make sense to you guys?
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. Now,
Fred, I have a very important question for you.
You look at sorry, go Cal.
Have you voted for Sabonis and Fox to the All-Star game?
Even that's pissing me off as well. That's pissing me off for the whole All-Star, the All-Star voting thing. That's why do they let fans vote for players for the All-Star game? Because
agree more with you.
the bigger franchises, they're always going to vote for their players, even if they're fucking useless. I've sworn again there, But if they've got 3 or 4 times the amount of fans than the Kings, they're still going to vote for their useless players to get into the All-Star game, which then hinders, real players who deserve to be there, like Fox and Sabonis. It just does my head in. It's bonkers, absolutely bonkers.
Well, Fred, it's not all of the percentage, right? They weight it, so it's like 50%.
I know it's 50-50 in it, yeah.
And then the other 50% is coaches and stuff like that. So I get it. They want people involved, but hey, you better be voting every day.
But then you've always
Fred.
got the TV thing as well. Oh, I am voting. But then you've always got the TV thing as well, they're always going to say, the coaches voted for this player and such voted for this player. But, they're always going to be looking, okay, if we stick a player in from a bigger market, we're going to get, more people watching this game. But I'm not even going to get into that one.
Hey, Fred, Brian wants to know what you think of the refs.
The refs, I didn't think they were too bad tonight, to be fair. I think, we've had games where we've had worse decisions, but I just think basically the Kings were. Do you know what? The Kings didn't see the game through. We could have blamed the refs tonight, but I don't think the refs were overly bad, and that's just my honest opinion.
I agree.
Even that last decision, he shot the ball off, and then I think Westbrook got the touch. So, in my opinion, that wasn't a foul. So, you can't blame the refs. I think the only people you can blame are the Kings. Also, one other thing as well. We need a couple of players in there. Monty needs to do some more Monty magic, and I also think
I was going to ask about.
I also think Mike Brown needs to adapt to the fact now that a lot of teams are taking the Kings a lot more seriously. I think at the start of the season, we got a few easy wins and we got a few blowouts because I think a lot of teams who played against us probably thought they probably came into the game saying, we're just playing Sacramento, we're just going to go out with these plays, such and such and such. We ain't going to try too hard. But I think now teams are adapting to us, they're adjusting to us, and they're taking us a little bit more seriously. Hence, we're getting closer games. But then you also have to look at the thing that we're not actually getting blown out and we're still in these games even when we lose. So there's something positive to bring out of it. Anyway.
Very good points. Very good points.
Very true. Fred.
Does that make sense to you guys?
I do.
100%.
I mean, I need a game where the Kings win by at least 10 or 15, dude.
Oh,
These games are stressing me out, Fred.
It is stressful, isn't it? I keep I was listening to I was looking at something earlier saying, this is a couple of people were saying this is the biggest, most stressful loss of the season. I'm thinking to myself, no, it's not. The Hornets game was the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or the
that
Wizards.
was the game
that
disappointed me the most.
Fred, don't bring that game up.
I know, but you can't compare losing tonight with the Hornets game. The Hornets game, and like you say, the Wizards game.
Yeah.
We should have won those.
You're trying to stay positive right now. I think that's important. And the Lakers, it's the Lakers. We all hate them, but they have been playing
Westbrook
a lot better.
Firing.
A lot better.
Yeah, and Westbrook is firing.
Yeah.
LeBron's firing. When they get AD back, they're going to be a dangerous team. Even though they've only got 3 players. They only have 3 players, don't they? The Lakers have 3 players. That is it.
Fred, you're awesome, dude. You're getting a lot of love here in the chat. We appreciate you joining us on Twitter Spaces. Hopefully you'll join us again soon. I got one last question for you. The Kings are playing on Monday against the Orlando Magic. You got a prediction for that game?
Magic are decent, isn't they? They've got a big team.
They are
the thing is
team.
that the Kings lack a bit of size as well. But and the thing is, if Sabonis gets in foul trouble early, I think we're going to be in trouble, aren't we? Because Sabonis is literally carrying that side. We're playing at home, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Got to go for a win. Got to go for a win with the home crowd. But it's not going to be as easy as we think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as easy as we think it's going to be.
You got a final score prediction?
I think we'll win by 20 points. That is going to be our blowout win that we really, really want. Even though it's going to be like a difficult game, it's going to be the game that we want. We need this game. We need it, please.
Yes, Fred. Yes.
We need a blowout.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. I want a blowout on Monday, Fred. I need a blowout, dude. I need one.
That is it. We need to blow it out. That'd be like I think the last decent game we had, that was the Nets game. That's the only game in memory that I can think that, it was fantastic.
That was a hell of a blowout, too. That was a hell of a blowout.
TD, mate. Terrence Davis come alive in that game, didn't he?
Yep. Hey, well, Fred, thank you so much for joining us, dude. Calvin and I definitely need to come visit you. We're going to take a Euro trip next year. We'd love to come check out your club.
Yeah, do it. Come to the UK, man.
Definitely.
Hopefully we'll see you for the playoffs, too.
Before I go, can I say one thing?
Of course.
Please.
I thought Rashawn Holmes was actually a lot better tonight than he has been.
11 minutes, 2 of 3, 5 rebounds, 4 points, 3. Yeah, I mean, the last couple games
he was better, wasn't he? He looked a bit better. He looked a bit better. So, there's always a bit of faith there. Come on, Rashawn.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
And I do root for that guy. But anyway, guys, thanks for having me on.
Dude, you are so awesome, Fred. We'll see you on the next one. Hopefully you can join us on Monday for the blowout.
Definitely, I will come on Monday.
That's right.
Much love to you both.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Right.
Absolute pleasure, guys.
Have a good night.
Take care. See you later, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Fred, dude. Fred is awesome. Also, shout out to everybody that's here in the chat, hanging out, watching live. If you guys want to have your voices heard, you can join us on Twitter Spaces. All you got to do is just go into Twitter, go to our profile, Royal_Rebounds. Make sure you follow us. Click on our profile picture. You can join the space. You can request to come up on stage. And, hey, you can have your voices heard. Calvin, we got a lot to talk about. Fred, dude, Fred's awesome, man. But he got me a little bit off topic here, Calvin. So we got to jump back into this. We talked about Sabonis. We talked about HB. I know you want to talk a little bit about Keegan Murray. But we gotta speed this up here, Calvin, because we're already an hour and 15 in. Tell me about Keegan Murray.
Well, I just think he should be playing more, especially when he gets going from outside early in the game. I know that defensively, based on certain matchups, you maybe don't want to leave him on an island against LeBron for a good portion of the game. But I thought that, or I have thought over the past, few weeks, that he's really made a lot of strides. The shooting slump that he had early in the year is pretty much done with now. He isn't really getting that many looks. And I know Kevin Huerter and both Harrison Barnes, the two of them were hitting threes early in this game. Even Davion Mitchell came in and made his first threes. So that's going to limit maybe the number of opportunities that he gets. But there were multiple times in this game, especially late in the game in the second half, where I just couldn't help but think, where is Keegan? They could really use him right now. You mentioned the critical charge he took on LeBron. Both of LeBron's fouls, 2 offensive fouls, 2 turnovers, both when Keegan Murray was guarding him. One coming over to help on the charge, and the other he was denying him the ball and took the elbow or the hand to the face. I think that they need to maybe start to take some of the reins off of him or give him a little more leash. Early in the year, I could totally understand he's struggling shooting the ball. He's still struggling grasping the idea of the help defense concept, where to be, on the floor at the right times, reading certain plays, all of that stuff. He's shown me over the past few weeks that he's starting to get all of that stuff. He looks much more engaged defensively. I thought the rebounding has been better, not tonight, But again, you could have played him 4 or 5 more minutes. Maybe he would have come down with 3 more rebounds. I would have loved to have seen him out there more.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever you do, do not look at the poll in the chat, Calvin. Okay, yeah, I was really, really happy with Keegan Murray. Like I said, dude, the past couple streams, I've been talking about how much more comfortable this guy has been looking out there shooting the basketball. I would like him to do a little bit more, right? No rebounds tonight. I know in the last game he did not rebound well. I think that's more of a positioning thing, right? Is positioning himself. Obviously, with this Sacramento Kings team, you want to run, so it's you're leaking out after every single missed shot, trying to get up and down the court. I'd like to see Keegan focus a little bit more, get a little bit more rebounds in. Obviously he can improve on the defensive end of the floor, but I think the confidence is there, Calvin. We saw him go through that kind of rookie slump early on. He seemed to be hitting that wall, but hey, I think he's made some great strides, some improvements. I'm happy with Keegan. Like I said, I think he should have played more minutes tonight, got more shot attempts. And dude, Sabonis, I forgot about this, Calvin. Sabonis had a nice block on LeBron James tonight. So shout out to Domantas Sabonis for that. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Huerter. 40 minutes of action, 17 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 9 from three-point range. I think he made all 3 of those threes in the first half, Calvin. Went kind of cold in the second half. Why do you think that is?
Man, that's a tough question. I don't know. I think that the game... it got much more competitive, much more intense. They wanted to play Fox more minutes, so he wasn't out there as much. And in that first quarter, like I said before, both teams just couldn't miss. It was, bring the ball up the court, take the first shot that's available, it went in. The other team brings it back down the other way, take the first shot that's available, it went in. Law of averages says he's not going to continue to hit all the threes that he takes for the course of a game. I do think that it was really nice for him personally to get off to a good start. Shooting has been one of the few areas of the game that he really has been inconsistent with over the course of his first year and a half now in the NBA. So it's a great confidence booster, I think, for him to come in and make 3 right away, and hopefully he continues to build off of that.
Yeah, also been dealing with a shooting slump. And dude, it's funny. We're talking about a shot early in the game, right? He's hitting those almost like a turnaround fadeaway from 3-point range. He doesn't even square his shoulders to the basket. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy, dude. These are going in. It's crazy. And he does cool down in the second half. Not something you want to see, but you're right, Calvin. I think making shots for him is good because he was going through a shooting slump as well. So, getting the confidence up. Would like to see him lose a little bit more, but yeah. Unfortunate we lost tonight, but I'm not disappointed in Kevin Huerter. I like what I've seen out of him. I thought he rebounded well, 6 rebounds tonight, 3 assists. He passed the ball well. I'm happy with Kevin Huerter, dude. I think he's
Definitely
one of the best acquisitions of any team this offseason, in my opinion. Shout out to Charles here. Charles, have a good night. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the super chat. Also, shout out to Matthew for joining in here. And does it look like Skeeter is leading the chat right now for Calvin's middle name, 37%. Calvin, looks like we might have to change your middle name here. Skeeter seems to fit you pretty well. Okay, let's talk about De'Aaron Fox. 38 minutes of action, 11 of 21 from the field, 0 of 2 from three-point range, but 34 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds. We see him hit that clutch shot late, Calvin, to tie the game. I thought that shot was going to be a little bit short, but De'Aaron doing his thing in clutch time, making baskets. He was upset at the end of this game, right? He fouled. Who was it that was driving the basket that picks up the foul? Was it LeBron?
Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, Dennis Schroeder, yeah. So he fouled Schroeder. That play is challenged by the Kings. It's not overturned. The Kings lose their last time out, so they cannot advance the ball. They are down 2 with 2 seconds left. Fox inbounds the ball, gets the ball back real quick, runs up the court, shoots a deep 3, misses it, and then he is pissed, dude. He's yelling, and it looks like Coach Brown is just like, Fox, go to the locker room. Just get out of here, right? Just go.
He didn't want to risk getting a fine or a suspension or,
Yeah, exactly.
That could have spiraled really fast.
34 points from De'Aaron Fox, hitting a ton of shots late in this game. Can you really ask more from him?
Well, you can ask more. I mean, you could have asked for 4 more points. That would have won the game. And as we've seen from Kings fans, over the years, they've always asked more of De'Aaron Fox, even in his best moments. But look, I think that he played fantastic tonight. I don't know how you can argue that. I saw earlier in the chat some people saying they wish that he would try to turn that switch on earlier in the game, earlier in the second half. I think that the way that the Kings attacked the game from an offensive standpoint, it was perfect. I mean, they came out, they got all of their 3-point shooters going early in the game. Murray, Barnes, Herter, they're playing through Sabonis. That allows De'Aaron to have a little bit of extra energy late in the game for these exact moments, these critical clutch moments where he's been so good. The problem is they just can't get enough stops. That's the difference. That's why they're not coming out on top in these games. It's not the offensive production, it's defense. And it's a fair argument to say that De'Aaron should be leading that charge defensively. But I liked his energy and effort defensively today. I think it's more of just a team standpoint right now. As a team, they're not good enough at limiting teams getting inside and picking them apart. De'Aaron is part of that, but he's certainly not the only one. He's not the one problem you can point to on that end of the ball. And I liked his aggressiveness on Schroeder late in the game too. I think that's a bang play. It probably could have gone either way. Yep. It's really unfortunate that they gave him the foul there. But Fox was every bit as good as he's been all year long late in this game. He did everything he could to try to get them the win tonight.
Yeah, Mr. Angel is so upset with the referees. Dude, I get it, man. I get it. It is frustrating watching it happen over and over and over again. Jesus says, Calvin Skeeter Wolverine. Oh, that's an interesting nickname.
That's quite a name.
And Jim says, why can't Fox start mid-third quarter? That's an interesting point. I think we better jump over here to Twitter Spaces, Calvin. We got another guest here. Coach Nick is in the house. Nick, how are you, man?
What's up? How you doing today?
What's up, dude? It's good to see you.
Well, we should have won this game, but we got to play better defense. You got to play better, and we play Orlando on Monday. Orlando beat the Warriors tonight.
Oh wow!
So they were playing the Warriors tonight, so they beat the Warriors.
Wow! Well, we know the Warriors haven't been playing too good this year. But, hey, Nick, I want to hear your thoughts on De'Aaron Fox. We're talking a little bit about De'Aaron Fox right now. Obviously, he had a pretty good game offensively, 34 points. We saw what happened there at the end. What were your thoughts on De'Aaron Fox tonight?
I feel like he played really well. They played really well tonight. It's just I think the defense, I think the refs pretty much got him tonight.
Calvin, Coach Nick thinks it's the refs. What do you think?
I think the Kings could have made more stops defensively and not turned the ball over late. I do agree with you, Nick. There's some calls that could have gone the other way for sure, but
yes.
I think the Kings still could have won this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, man, just watching these losses pile up, right? And it seems like it's the refs. But honestly, Nick, like I was telling Calvin, I think this is one of the better officiated games this year for the Sacramento Kings. Yes, there was some things you can point to, towards the end of this game. But my main concern with officiating is it just seems like it's not consistent throughout the entire game, right? Where things that are called in the second quarter are not called the same in the fourth quarter. You could see De'Aaron Fox's frustration late in the game, right? He thought that after that three-pointer attempt at the end that maybe he got fouled. The refs don't want to decide games like that, but sometimes they do. You agree with that, or what do you think?
Well, I don't. There's some things that they were not fouls because he didn't even touch the person. Let's just say, it's like they call fouls for no reason.
Dude, I feel like that all the time, right?
I feel like the referees are calling fouls for no reason. Let them play. Let them play basketball.
Yeah.
Nick, what do you think about Mike Brown's decision to challenge that call on De'Aaron Fox at the end and risk losing the timeout so they couldn't advance the ball? Was that the right move in your opinion?
it could have been the right move.
Yeah, you're right. It could have if they won the challenge. You're right.
The challenge would have been successful.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I mean, dude, I wouldn't have challenged that just because, I mean, you look at the challenges the Kings have had this season, right? They have not won a lot of challenges. Like, there's probably 2 that I remember where the Kings actually won. And the unfortunate part is you had a timeout left. The Lakers did not, right? You had a timeout left, but if you do challenge that play and you lose the challenge, you lose the timeout, so you can't advance the ball. So that's a tough call, Nick. I honestly probably would have not challenged it if it was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, right? You didn't win the challenge, so we obviously can say that it wasn't the right move or didn't help them. If they had won the challenge, we'd all be saying, oh, great job, Mike Brown. That was a wonderful challenge. So I think it could go either way.
Good night, Wendy. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Nick, we're wrapping up the game here. I want to talk a little bit about some Kings news that happened yesterday. Chima Maneki was waived by the Sacramento Kings. Now there's an open roster spot. Is there anybody that you'd like the Kings to sign here or somebody they could pick up from another team? I know a lot of people have been talking about, a backup big, a rim protector, maybe another wing player. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we're gonna have to look and see.
Some who?
We're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
Oh, spoken like a true politician there, Nick.
We're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
Do you like Mo Bamba? I know a lot of people like Mo Bamba.
I think he'd be a good fit.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great fit. I mean, he can shoot the 3. He can block shots. He's young. I like Mo a lot. Honestly, I wanted the Kings to consider drafting him when he was, just coming out of college. It's not too late now to pick him up. What do you think it would take to get a guy like Mo Bamba from the Magic?
Trading somebody, getting more Bombas.
You trading Rashawn?
Rashawn?
Yeah, yeah, and I also did hear something that DeMarcus Cousins might be signing. He might be working out with the Lakers again.
Yeah, I did hear that they were going to work him out. That could be tough. You think the Kings should go after DeMarcus?
I don't know. Maybe. And maybe his attitude needs to change.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
Hey, man, I hear you got an important practice coming up. Can you tell everybody what that is?
It is Special Olympics. It is Special Olympics basketball practice next week at Encino High School.
That's awesome, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You excited?
Have you heard back from Mo yet? Is she going to show up?
She's doing a Do Some Mo show.
Oh, okay. Well, she's obviously very busy. I would love to go if I was living in Sacramento, man. I would definitely be there, but I wish you the best of luck.
Okay, then.
That's really cool, man. What position do you play, Nick?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay. You play them all. You
That's right.
You
Yeah.
play all 5 positions.
Positions.
Yeah.
I like it, man. Cool, Nick. Well, dude, we appreciate you coming in. Hopefully you can join us on Monday after the Magic game.
All right, then.
All right, buddy. Have a good night, man. We appreciate you.
Go Kings,
and good
Nick.
luck on your practice.
All righty. Thank you.
See you, buddy. Jesus, have a good night. Thank you for joining in. PK is here. Matthew's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Matthew. All right, Calvin. Let's wrap up this game here. I want to talk about a couple more things. Then we got to talk about Monday's game against the Magic before we let everybody go. I see Asha's here in the chat. Shout out to Asha. I know it's getting late for everybody here on the West Coast. But Calvin, anybody else you want to talk about? We talked about the starters tonight. I want to give a quick shout out to Trey Lyles. I thought Trey Lyles had a great game.
That's exactly
11 points, 5 rebounds. We talked about no Malik Monk, how that was going to affect the bench. Fred liked Rashawn Holmes tonight. Anybody else you thought had a great game tonight for the Kings?
Well, I just think that we haven't given Trey Lyles enough love for the game that he had today. He didn't have the greatest shooting night, still contributed with 11 points off the bench, but we talk all the time about how the Kings are undersized and they have trouble defending inside, they have trouble rebounding, all this stuff. Not to say that Trey Lyles comes in and blocks 2 shots a game, but his energy, his effort on the glass, he's a very determined player right now. I think he knows that that's the stuff that he has to come in and do, as well as stretch the floor. But he's going to be asked to guard difficult players, multiple positions, being on the wing. They played him at center a lot tonight. We didn't give Trey Lyles enough credit for the game that he had today. He's been a huge revelation ever since he came back full-time into the lineup from being sick. He's a really important rotation player for this team. And if they're going to continue to play well and win games, they're going to have to keep putting Trey Lyles in there because the dude really brings it every single night.
Yeah, shout out to I Would Love My Life for watching on the East Coast. Hey, we're keeping you up. It's okay. It's okay. We enjoy you guys hanging out. So we definitely appreciate you guys all for hanging out and watching the show, hitting the like button, and PK is also on the East Coast. Angel says no Malik Monk on Monday either. I might be wrong. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Malik Monk. It seems like tonight was maybe more of a little bit of rest for Malik, right? He didn't play yesterday. Is not going to be playing tomorrow because there's no game. So it's, multiple days off in a row. Potentially he'll be back on Monday. I definitely hope he is back on Monday. So Calvin, let's move on here. Let's talk about a couple, I guess, not so much off-season things, but some housekeeping things for the Sacramento Kings before we jump into the Orlando Magic game. First off, Chima Moneke was waived yesterday by the Sacramento Kings, opening up a roster spot. Now, Calvin, first off, I just want to ask you, what does this mean to you? Does this mean the Kings are going to sign somebody, or does this mean the Kings are maybe making a trade and they need an extra roster spot to kind of absorb an extra player here?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think it definitely means that the Kings know that they need to add another piece to this team, whether it's through free agency or trying to make a trade. They realize that, trade deadline is only a month away now. And this is when, you really start to see the wheels turn around the league of teams, trying to figure out what the move is, depending on what their position is. Maybe they're selling, maybe they're buying. I think the Kings are definitely buyers, obviously, right? So whether you are swinging for the fences and trying to make a big-time buy or it's a smaller move, they recognize that they need to add something. So you have to create the space available in order to do that. And this gives them options, right? They can sign somebody straight up without giving anything away, or they could trade, a couple of pieces and try to add that way. So we know that Monte McNair is working hard, right? This is the time of year. He killed it last year at the trade deadline and carried that over into a really good offseason. This is Monty season now, right? We started the Hey Monty hashtag last year. It's Hey Monty time. He knows what to do. I think he's been evaluating things for quite some time, but it's starting to be go time now. Yeah, definitely. I could not agree more. Bouncer, hopefully you're doing okay with the weather out there. I know you messaged us earlier, so hopefully you are safe and you are okay. Ricky, Calvin and I live in Maui, Hawaii. We're both Kings fans. We grew up in Davis, California. Loved going to Kings games as kids, but we've been out here for quite a while. We do make it back every once in a while. And yes, last year we did do a really, really cool, two actually, post-game streams right across from Golden One Center. So that was a lot of fun. We do hope to do that again. Love to do that again,
sure.
Yeah.
Calvin, Alfie Man wants to know, any 10-day players you'd be interested in signing, or you think this is more of like a permanent spot? Because I would say, if you're going to cut somebody like Chima, it's probably going to be more of like a permanent player, at least throughout the whole season, versus a 10-day. What are your thoughts there?
I don't like the 10-day move right now. I mean, first of all, there aren't a ton of players out there that I would really think it would be worthwhile. And when you look at the bench of this team, they kind of already have a bunch of 10-day players, right? I mean, Terrence Davis is in and out of the lineup. Chimezi Metu is in and out of the lineup. Rashawn Holmes is in and out of the lineup. They call up Keita for a couple of days. So they've been trying this 10-day thing, I think, within their own team all season long, and nobody has really nailed down, out of all of those spots. I think it's time to go for a more permanent move. Oh, Barry left me again.
No, I got you, dude. I'm already stressing you out, Calvin. I know it. Okay, let's move on, dude. Let's move on. I know Brian wants to fire up the trade machine, Calvin. So, hey, this guy's in the news. He's having an amazing season, probably the best season of his career, honestly. We know that he had a huge injury last year. This guy was the first piece to fall for that Utah Jazz team that, hey, Calvin, they had the best record in the NBA for a minute. He was the first one to fall. Now he is currently with the Detroit Pistons. I feel sorry for him. But Calvin, he's having a career year. He's played 41 games this year. He's averaging 21 points a game, 3.6 rebounds, 2.7 assists. He's shooting 48% from the field and almost 42% from three-point range and almost 90% from the free throw line. Calvin, is this a possible trade candidate for the Sacramento Kings? And what would you give up for a guy making $19.5 million a year? He's locked up for 2 more seasons, and he's 33.
I would not be making a move for Bogdanović. I think that he's a very skilled offensive player, a really good shooter. But that's not what the Kings need. I mean, sure, you can never have too much shooting, right? But you're going to have to give up. It's rumored that the Pistons are looking for a first-round pick and a young player for him. You mentioned the guy is 33 years old. He is not a defender whatsoever. So I would be looking for more front court players, power forwards, centers, rebounders, rim protectors, and guys that are more of two-way players, than Bogdanović. When you consider having to give up perhaps both a first-round pick and, an additional asset, that seems like a lot for a guy that I don't think makes the Kings that much better.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Terrence Davis played tonight. Not a lot, Calvin. He didn't play a lot, and that's still a mystery for me. But would you consider something? I know the Kings have quite a few second-round picks. Would you consider like a Rashawn Holmes, Terrence Davis, and maybe a second-round pick for Bogdanović, or is that too much?
Again, I don't think I would, because first of all, you're going to be cutting into minutes of guys, like Trey Lyles, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, because they all rotate roughly the same position that Bogdanović does. I realize that Rashawn Holmes hasn't done much for them this year, but they don't have anybody to play backup center for them. And if you trade Rashawn Holmes, you have an even bigger void in there. That deal doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Bogdanović is a target for the Sacramento Kings team. But, hey, maybe he ends up with the Lakers. We will see. Shout out to Bench Matthew. Matthew, thank you for joining us tonight. You're bringing the energy from Golden One Center on Monday. Dude, Matthew, join us on Twitter Spaces on Monday, because we'd love to hear from you. We know you love to talk Kings basketball, so we would absolutely love to hear from you on Monday following the blowout, right? Fred said there's going to be a blowout on Monday, so we'd love to hear from you. PK says we need a Collins, and Iwi says Kings need a dog, someone that gets in people's faces. Calvin, I feel like De'Aaron Fox has kind of been that guy, right? He's tried to get in people's faces a little bit.
Well, Davion does that too.
Davion is there.
The problem is with those two guys specifically, they can guard bigger players. I mean, they'll give a good effort. Davion will give a good effort no matter who he's guarding. But they're not the versatile type of defender that this team needs. Somebody that has the size and the ability of a KZ Okpala, but is able to do it more consistently and maybe help them on the offensive end a little bit more. That or a serious, interior defender, rim protector, shot blocker. Those are the types of defensive difference makers that they need right now to go along with De'Aaron and Davion out on the perimeter.
All right. I think that pretty much wraps up that section. Let's dive here into Monday's game against the Orlando Magic. We can check in here in the standings real quick, Calvin. Good news. The loss didn't really affect us much in the standings here, Calvin. We are still the 5th seed. Your hair is still in danger, Calvin. The Kings are 20-18. They're currently on a 2-game losing streak. However, as our friend Redacted said there in the chat earlier, the Kings are still the best team in California, right? They're better than the Clippers. They're better than the Lakers. They're better than the Warriors. We're still first place in the division, Calvin. I'm feeling pretty positive about this Kings team. I know it hurts, right? 2 losses in a row. 2 losses in a row does not feel good. But hey, the schedule, like I said, is getting a little bit easier. We face Orlando. This is going to be a rematch, right? We're going to get to see Paulo play against Keegan, and then we play against Houston for 2 games after that, where we get to see Jabari Smith play. So it is exciting. But hey, let's talk about Monday's game. It is in Sacramento. It's against the 15-25 Orlando Magic. ESPN has the Kings as a 72.7% favorite here. As far as the injury report goes, Bol is out for the Orlando Magic. Malik Monk is out for the Sacramento Kings. Calvin, give me your first thoughts on this game.
My first thoughts on this game are, how are the Kings going to match up against this team? I mean, it's a relief, actually, to hear that Bol is out. We'll see if that continues. I have no idea what his injury is or how much time he's expected to miss. But this is a huge team with a lot of length and some really skilled players that have a lot of length that play out on the perimeter too, like Banchero. Bol's having a great season, or has been having a great season so far for this team. Franz Wagner was in the Rookie of the Year candidate, was a Rookie of the Year candidate last season. He also has a lot of length. So for the Kings, they struggle against bigger teams. They struggle against teams that pound them inside. The Magic aren't necessarily a pound-you inside team, but they have very skilled players that can, attack off the bounce and create open looks from the three-point line. So we've seen them be very competitive against the league's best teams this year. They have 2 back-to-back wins against the Boston Celtics. This is not a team to take lightly, despite their record. Banchero's having a phenomenal year. He might be an all-star this year as a rookie. He's played really, really well. For a team that's struggles defensively, I'm a little nervous about this game, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, like Fred said, right, this is a pretty big squad. The Kings have doubled down on their small ball lineup. We'll see if Sabonis can stay out of foul trouble in this game. But, Calvin, I think this is a bounce-back game for the Sacramento Kings. Maybe not a 20-point blowout like I would like, but I do think this is a game for the Kings to kind of get back on track. They are on a 2-game losing streak, but they're at home. I think that, they'll have a nice weekend here to relax, figure things out, and then be right back at it on Monday. Iwi, I like Shumpert's leadership when he was here too. I think that maybe Malik Monk could be that guy this year. Maybe Malik has that swagger. Maybe he's a little bit more outspoken than Mitchell and Fox. But, Calvin, this is going to be an exciting game on Monday. I definitely think this is a game that we're probably going to have a lot of fun watching. But, hey, Calvin, I'm here, dude. I want to hear your keys to the game because I know that's the most important part.
Oh, man. Well, you're going to love this. I'm throwing all the X's and O's out the window for this game. They just need to score more points, dude. That's what it comes down to. Make some stops, get some rebounds. This is a team that you should beat. I'm tired of diving too deep into what the Orlando Magic do best and what they do worst. It's over. They need to win this game and get back on the winning track here into this stretch of games of opponents that they should win and will have advantages over. So score more points.
Calvin, you're stealing my keys to the game, man. But, yeah, I agree. I think rebounds are going to be really important in this game. So I think shooting percentage and rebounds are going to be really, really important. So those are 2 things that I'm definitely going to be watching. I hope Iwi's right here and the Kings are winning by 15 or maybe even 20, dude. Because
honestly, they're going to be they're going to be hurting for a while after this game. I think all day tomorrow. I don't know if they have a practice tomorrow or a shoot-around or a walkthrough or something. I would expect it to be a pretty somber mood in there. Guys are going to be really focused. They should come out ready to go and try to put a hurting on this team early.
Great point, right? Take all this hurt, all this pain right now, use it as motivation on Monday. I think that's the most important thing that this Kings team is doing. We heard in the post-game press conferences after the last loss that they're saying, although we lost that game, the Kings are still learning how to win, right? They're learning how to perform better in close game situations. Calvin, I can't even remember how many close games that we've had this season and the last time in a Kings season that we've had anything similar, right? Where it just seems in the past it's been either the Kings win by 10 or they lose by 10 every single game. There has been a lot of close games. So definitely some important minutes for guys like Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, and a bunch of these other younger guys that are still learning how to build this culture, build a winning basketball team. So I think, as unfortunate as a loss like tonight was, it definitely gives them something to build off of. So I'm really excited. I think that pretty much wraps up the show tonight for us, Calvin. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are live after every single Kings game. Calvin, any last words for the fans out there?
Forecast calls for blowout on Monday in Sacramento. We'll see you after the game.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, Mr. Angel, hit us up next time you're in Maui. We'd love to hang out, grab a beer or a Mai Tai, something like that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you all on Monday. And in the meantime, go Kings. Hey, Kings, I see you. Mahalo, Brian. Go Kings, Rotters.